Welcome to the National Real Estate Network video training program. This video is part of a series designed to help beginning and experienced real estate investors with the different aspects of purchasing and investing in properties. Be sure to click become a member at 27monthlymeetup.com.
I structure my deals usually a 3 to 5 year time commitment. Most of my investors, if you look up here, I'm an expert at getting monies from people's self-directed IRAs, converting their 401ks to self-directed IRAs, and people are usually pretty happy with a 10% return these days. And not only is it a 10% return, it's a 10% return that's secured by property, like this property here. My investor had $32,000 into this property, and it was worth at least twice that amount. His investment was rock solid covered with equity. If I defaulted on that, he'd be happy to take that property back because it's worth twice what he's got into it. Not only that, I secure all my investors' notes with a first lien mortgage on there. I register it at the county. They're protected. They got a first lien. I name them as the first insured on any insurance policy I have. If the house burns down, they get paid off before anybody else gets paid off. I do everything to protect my investors. Not only is it the right thing to do, my investors keep coming back because they know that Ken always pays on time. He covers my investment rock solid, and I'm getting a great return. It's like they can't do any better anyplace else, especially not in the stock market. That's all over the place. But if they're going to get that kind of return, their risk factor is significant. And in the stock market, what control do you have over what happens? You know, if the market crashes, you have no control. You've lost the money. But if the market crashes in real estate, you just rent it out until the market turns around again and you get your money back. So this is why I like real estate. And I encourage my investors to invest with me because their investment's protected. So that's my model on how I do things. But I could answer whatever questions you folks may have regarding specifics you have. Yeah. I jumped into assisted living at one point. Yeah, it was a tough business. It took me about 5 years to get to the break-even point, and I was starting to make a profit on it. Then I had some personal circumstances that forced me to liquidate the business. But it's not a business that I particularly enjoyed that much, so kind of sorry I jumped into it. Well, actually, I got into it as an offspring of real estate investing. I knew nothing about assisted living. I was planning on converting my rental homes into assisted living and having somebody else manage the assisted living business part of it. Well, so I went in partnership that way. Unfortunately, the partner I went into didn't do their job on the assisted living thing the way I felt was proper. So, because I'm the one who had all the property invested into it, I was on the hook. Because now I had all these homes and I had somebody who wasn't managing the assisted living part of it. So I kind of jumped into running that part of the business, which distracted me from the actual real estate part of it. So that was a bit of a distraction off there. But anyways, I learned a lot about marketing doing that business. So, but anyways, I'm out of that business now. Too hard of a business. I'd rather stick to the real estate part that I'm more passionate about. Yeah. These are residential homes. I was converting them for assisted living. You know, I was specifically targeting veterans. I'd take my homes, I'd set them up for a package where I'd send caregivers out there to take care of the veterans and folks that were living in the homes, and take care of all the maintenance, have caregivers come up in, they'd have the home to live in and everything, make them handicap accessible. But yeah, that's a whole lot of a different area. Then I had group homes as well. So that's my endeavor into commercial stuff. I've done some property management where we're managing apartment buildings as well. Well, from experience, if I'm going to get into investing in apartment buildings, it's got to be large enough to support on-site property management. These little 4-unit guys aren't worth, they're a hassle. Duplexes, I hate duplexes. Stay away from them, I'm mad. But duplexes, because you're getting involved with the tenant drama. The upstairs unit is being too noisy and this, and it's like, I don't want to get involved with that. But in an apartment, they expect, they're used to that kind of stuff. You know, and plus you have the on-site property management deal with all that kind of stuff.
I had 42 units, 40 buildings. When I exited out of this business, I was taking 40 and converting it back to the city family because I could sell huge bedrooms. So it was like, I could do way better than bedrooms. So I like sector. That like those to me like they make me crazy.
But yeah, like I'm thinking 50 units, 100 units minimum if you're going to do multifamily.
I had a 25 unit with barely secluded property management, and that was when I came to. I totally agree with everything you said. But you don't know it until you go experience it. So that's the more expensive seminar. Where you can talk, listen to somebody that has already paid the price for the experience seminar. Just stay.
So for a house like this one, when you rent it out, did you use a property manager? Or did you manage it yourself?
No, I manage all my own properties. But I had my own on-site crew and stuff, so I could send maintenance and stuff out there to fix things. Plus, part of my strategy on this thing was rent to own. And I structured a lot of these deals so that for the piddly stuff, that the tenants were responsible for that because they were supposed to be treating these like their own homes. Another exit strategy with land contract. I like land contracts too, because it is their home. If the furnace goes out on it, you're not legally on the hook to replace that furnace. On a rent to own, you still are. But not the little stuff. The little stuff you can have the tenants take care of. But furnace goes out, you still have to replace that furnace. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Sell it right now for is for foundation design, no cracks, old foundation, hard, the building strip. Oh, I went in and I wrote that the apartments are small. Now, what you advocate is the idea that comes about to begin to convert those small apartments into like a wall. Or to maintain them as they are, it's enough to use them all.
I would not go messing with the structure that's in there already. If they were 1-unit efficiencies or 1-bedroom apartments, I'd keep them that way. I'm not going to wall out, all of a sudden you're reducing the amount of units you have to rent out. And I don't know structurally what the building was designed for. You got to deal with all kinds of engineering stuff and load-bearing walls and stuff, so I wouldn't be messing with something like that. A unit that's that large that's been vacant for 12 years, I'd be very leery to jump into that because obviously it's been vandalized, severe deferred maintenance and all kinds of stuff. I've looked at a lot of properties like that in Toledo, and I don't want to get into that kind of a unknown cost. There's big costs involved with that. I prefer to do cosmetic with one significant thing wrong. That's my perfect property. I don't like the major rehabs. I've done those. I'm a licensed builder. I've done major rehabs. Time is money. I'd rather get that property flipped back on the market within 1 month rather than have to spend 3 months rehabbing it. So cosmetic is great, but with one major thing wrong with it that makes it so your average homeowner doesn't want to deal with it. So that's when you get your best deals. Well, let's say cosmetic, but needs a new roof. Cosmetic, but needs a new furnace. Something major that's going to cost some bucks to put into it that the homeowner doesn't want to deal with. But if it's just painting and stuff, where the homeowner says, "Oh, I can buy that and get conventional financing and paint it myself," but if it needs something major like that, they're going to have to take it a step further and get a rehab loan or whatever on the thing. Most homeowners, they just want a house that doesn't have anything major wrong with it, and that's where you jump into a home that has a better market for an investor like me, because I can't compete against you if you want to buy this for your own primary residence.
I'm not trying to put the money.
Mm-hmm.
Other has a program, I'll have to talk.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to put that.
Well, I'm going to go back to my original statement, is that there's too much unknowns involved with that. And there's a whole lot of upfront costs that you're going to have to kick out of your pocket in order to take some of those risks out. You're going to have a whole lot of inspections, a whole lot of quotes, and those quotes aren't going to be all that accurate on a big job like that. You know, if you get someone comes in here and says the electrical is all going to have to be updated, but to get an accurate quote's going to be tricky, because until they get into it, they don't know what they're going to find. So, yeah. Well, that's the other thing. Well, not to mention bringing that up to current code. When you start touching anything on there, current code is expensive, and lead-based paint abatement, and any other environmental hazards you got there, it's like, I don't want to deal with that. If you do it wrong, the penalties are staggering. Oh. I'm not saying that there's not good reason for rehabbing something like that, because, you know, affordable housing is important, but the government's going to have to make an awfully sweet deal to make me take that kind of risk. So, all right, well, that's all I can think of. Maybe I got my personal opinion. Yeah. So, anyways, yeah. Mm-mm.
Not the personal side, but basically,
Well, okay. Well, as Chris said, I've had to start over again. And that's one thing with being a real estate investor and taking major risks, is that I think even Mark admitted to it, he had to start over again. I've had to start over again too. I went through the big housing crash. That knocked me down, knocked down a lot of investors. But the one thing about it is that with all the knowledge that Mark and I have, we just start over again. We start over again much, much faster. We get back to where we were.